How long are interest rates gonna stay sky high? Right now, at the time of shooting this video, rates for a conventional mortgage with 20% down over 30 years is 7.5%. And gosh, compared to a few short years ago, that is absolutely brutal. And I know so many of us buyers are feeling that pain and we're thinking, man, I can't afford those monthly payments for what I want. So in this video, we're gonna work through a couple logical reasonings and then also real life reasonings and perspectives of why it actually may be better to buy a home right now in spite of the high interest rates. I'm gonna give you some great examples and we're gonna work through this together. Also at the end of this video, I'm gonna give you some really good negotiating strategies of how to negotiate the best price and rate on a home in this market, and it's radically gonna help you on monthly payments. Well, let's jump into some of the logical perspectives of why right now may be a great time to lock in a price on a home that's perfect for you and your family and your goals versus waiting for rates to drop. And it all comes down to pricing. Keep in mind, equity in a home, which means the value of your home, is gained through actually home ownership and locking in that price and then letting time do the heavy lifting of the price appreciating, which means increasing in value over time. If you don't lock in the price of your home now, then you're not taking advantage of time with that price appreciation. Keep in mind, even though rates have skyrocketed, prices here in St. Johns County, specifically single family homes, year over year have increased, appreciated 5%. So if we take the median price for St. Johns County at around $500,000, 5% on $500,000 is $25,000. That means prices have appreciated on the average price home $25,000 year over year. So if you bought a home last year when rates were still high compared to right now, your home is appreciated $25,000. That's equity, the inherent value in the home that you have actually gained. We continue to see price appreciation month over month and year over year, and we don't expect to see that slow down, mainly because so many families from all over the country still really want to move to Florida, and specifically Northeast Florida has so many benefits and positives that's attracting a lot of buyers that we foresee buyer demand to stay high. Inventory is still pretty restricted, meaning low. So there's low supply, high demand, and that's what's continuing to drive that price appreciation, helping homeowners increase their equity positions. The second logical perspective of why right now may be a good time to buy is the fact that there's less competition in way of other buyers like yourself. So right now, a lot of people have tapped pause and they're sitting and waiting on the sidelines for interest rates to drop. Now the question is, how low are you waiting for the rates to drop for you to know that it's the right time to come off the sidelines and begin to buy a home? We're not really sure about that, but what we do know is that for every full percentage point the rates drop, there's 5 million buyers that actually come into the market ready to buy a home. Now that's nationwide, but that's 5 million buyers that are flocking in saying, okay, I'm ready to buy a home. And with the existing limited low inventory, that's going to drive up competition. And we saw this back in 2021 and 2022 when so many people wanted to buy a home, but they literally were getting outbid because of multiple offers and bidding wars. And a lot of families just hit buyer fatigue because they put in offers on 5, 6, 7 homes only to get outbid and lose out on all of them, which was incredibly frustrating and discouraging. And so at that point, they just said, you know what, this market is too competitive for us, so therefore we're going to wait on the sidelines. You can see how this has turned into a catch-22. So while they were waiting on the sidelines, prices continued to appreciate 10, 20, 30% year over year, and they continue to appreciate all while interest rates are high. So those buyers essentially kind of like the train left the station and they got left behind. We fully expect once interest rates do begin to soften to any legitimate degree that makes an impact, and that's 0.5% to 1% to even more, then there'll be a lot of buyers flocking and flooding back into the market. We fully expect there to be multiple offers, bidding wars, and prices getting bid above list price, cash buyers coming in and winning multiple offers with cash offers versus if somebody has a conventional mortgage or even a FHA or VA mortgage that unfortunately are at a disadvantage against cash. Now, all that being considered, right now there are very few multiple offers. There's very few bidding wars. There's actually fewer buyers in the market. And what this means for you, this moment in time, if right now it works for you and your family and achieves your goals to buy a home now, you have options. You have inventory that you can choose from. You can weigh the pros and cons. You can look at a lot of different homes and choose the best one that fits your need and not feel like you have to compete against other buyers because of this scarcity mindset that you're gonna lose it. This may be exaggerating it a little bit, but the saying is you have your pick of the litter. You have the power of choice, selection, and options, so you can really get a home that you love. Right now for single family homes in St. Johns County, the absorption rate, which is also a correlation with inventory, and that is how many homes are actually on the market for sale right now, is about 3.5 months worth of homes for sale at the current buying rate. Now in a balanced market, which means the power between buyers and sellers is balanced and kind of equal, that's generally 5 months of inventory. So anything over 5 months of inventory is typically considered a buyer's market, which means the buyers have more power, they have the upper hand. Anything lower than 5 months, which is what we are in, 3.5 months, is generally considered a seller's market. The sellers have the leverage and have a little bit more power. Now keep in mind, it's really important to know, back in 2021, 22, it was less than 1 month of inventory on the market. And that's when we saw ridiculous bidding wars where we saw prices go $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 over list price. Things were getting completely crazy. A lot of cash buyers were coming in, winning the multiple offers, and it was just really painful for a lot of families that just were not able to buy a home. We're not seeing that right now, which gives this really beautiful moment in time for you to be able to come in and grab a home that you love, buy it, and actually negotiate, which I'm gonna touch on at the end of this video. Another logical perspective to consider for a lot of families that say, you know what, I'm just gonna rent right now because we need to move to the area or we need to change our situation, so I'm gonna rent and I'm gonna wait for rates to drop. This is something I just wanna encourage you to consider. So let's just loosely say average rent here, single family home in St. Johns County is around $2,000 a month, plus your deposit and then also moving expenses. Let's just say that that's gonna run $25,000 for the year to rent. So not considering the emotional effects of the stress of renting, the uncertainty and the unknowns, let's just talk about the $25,000 of money going per year towards rent, that you have nothing to show for that, as well as the 5% year-over-year appreciation of $25,000, the cost and the opportunity cost of missed appreciation, $25,000 per year of rent down the drain, $25,000 of missed appreciation, that's a cost of $50,000 of renting that's out the window. That's lost, that's missed, that's not realized. Now what comes with that is, yeah, you have a little flexibility. You're hoping rates drop. What if rates don't drop at the end of the year? And then you decide, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. We're gonna go ahead and buy. Well, at that point, 50 grand is lost, it's not realized. And then you're buying in at the market at a higher price and still at the higher rate. So there's a lot at risk if the perfect plan doesn't map out where rates actually drop. Now, all signs are pointing that they do, but we thought at this moment in time in 2024, rates would have been cut 2 or 3 times. They have not been cut at all. They may not get cut for the rest of the year. We're hoping for at least 1 rate cut. So I just want to encourage you and challenge that thought and that mindset that waiting is the safe idea, waiting is the good idea, because there's actually a lot of opportunity and real hard cost on the line. Okay, this is a visual that I really hope gives you perspective of the power and the correlation of interest rates versus pricing. Now, here is a home, this purchase price is $500,000. Now, if you put 20% down, so you avoid PMI, then 20% is a $100,000 down payment, which means now we're left with a loan amount of $400,000. The reason I used $500,000 is because the median price for a single family home in St. Johns County, actually last month it was around $575,000. So for easy math, I put it down to $500,000. So hopefully this is relatable. Obviously, as you adjust the price and your down payment and the loan amount, everything is really going to be based on what your specific loan amount is. For number purposes, I wanted to start with $400,000 as your loan amount. Now, at the time of this video, the current interest rates is 7.5%. Now, just the principal and interest of 7.5% on $400,000, that monthly payment is $2,800 per month. I rounded up a few bucks just to keep the math very clean. So if you're putting this in a mortgage calculator, you're gonna see that it's off by like maybe $13. So the interest rate at 7.5% on a $400,000 loan, the principal interest is $2,800 per month. Now that doesn't include your taxes and your insurance and any HOA or CDD fees, okay? We're just keeping this clean math. Now check this out. This is where things get really interesting. When the interest rates drop 1% to 6.5%, so for the homeowners and all the families that are saying, hey, I'm gonna wait till interest rates drop, then they're really saying, hey, I'm waiting for my monthly payment to drop, you know, so it's more affordable. Guess what that payment now becomes? $25.30. $25.30 per month. And what's the difference? The difference is $270 per month difference based on 1% change. Okay, rough math, 270 bucks a month. That's a lot of money for 1% interest adjustment. Now check this out. This is really interesting. If we say, what's the correlation of price and how does that affect monthly payments? So price for every 10 grand. So for every 10 grand at this interest rate, it affects the monthly payment by about 70 bucks. So if the price drops, the loan amount price drops from $400 to $390, think about how much this is going to affect your monthly payment. It's going to affect it $70 per month. So if pricing goes up, then it's going to cost you $70 per month more. So how much does the price need to adjust in order to equal $270 a month? We want to get an apples to apples comparison. And so it's actually $38,000. $38,000 is also going to affect your price, $270 per month. So now what does this mean? So 1% over here, it's a 1% interest rate, 1% rate drop essentially. So if you want to save $270 a month, or if these go up, if rates increase 1% or prices go up $38,000, it's going to cost you $270 per month more. So 1% adjustment on this amount of loan is going to be the equivalent of a $38,000 price difference. Now this is a correlation that's important to consider. Last year, the price appreciation in St. Johns County single family homes increased. So prices increased, appreciated 5% year over year. Prices appreciated, increased 5% year over year. So if we use $500,000 as the price, which we were conservative. This is lower than what it really was. 5% appreciation on $500,000 on 500K is $25,000. That price is appreciated in just 1 year. So it's important to consider, and look, 25 grand compared to 38, I mean, this is a big chunk of $38,000. So even while families and buyers are waiting and hoping interest rates to drop 1%, if they wait a year, just the sheer price appreciation in this market is offsetting the majority of the savings that they're waiting and hoping to acquire. So price appreciation in this market in St. Johns County in Florida, we believe is stable and will continue to appreciate, if not more. Because the moment interest rates do soften a little bit, we believe prices are going to far surpass 5% per year in the next few immediate years. So you may consider, hey, you know what? We're actually going to lock in our price on $500,000 this year, because what it's done the past year, this house, if you bought it a year ago, was $500,000. If you bought it now, it's $525,000. If you buy it a year from now, maybe it's $550,000. Especially if you're considering renting in lieu of purchasing now, your rent is 25 grand a year, plus you're missing out on this $25,000 appreciation in a year. Therefore, your real hard cost and opportunity cost is a $50,000 missed opportunity. It's a loss while people are waiting for the rates to drop just 1%, hoping rates drop 1%. What if they don't? What if it stays at this and prices go up 5%? Now you're getting dinged on both. You have these high monthly payments, plus your payments are increasing, say $200 a month, just because the price appreciation alone. I hope this gives you some perspective and just some clean math and logic to really just make sure you fully understand all the different moving parts and pieces. Now that we talked about some of the logical perspective, let's talk about the sheer emotional, real life perspective of what it means to not buy now and hope and wait for the interest rates to drop. And this is what I say to all of our friends and family and customers is life doesn't stop. Like, life continues. That means my 3-year-old will be 4 years old a year from now. My family's continuing to grow and to live and to have experiences and connections, and the day in and day out, we don't feel the high interest rates or the low interest rates. We're living life. And so if I were to tap pause on some of my big life goals, hoping interest rates drop, I'd miss out on a lot of things. So things to consider is, if you were to find a home, bite the bullet with the rates right now, but get settled in a home that you love, you buy the home that you love. Now you're able to get settled with school and get settled with friends and get settled with church and activities, and really begin to enjoy that lifestyle and that peace of mind as a homeowner in a solid, stable environment, rather than waiting, hoping, guessing, wishing, and then only to find out that it doesn't work out the way that you would hope for. Also, if you're in a different state or out of town, wanting to move to St. Johns County because of all the reasons of moving to St. Johns County, but you feel like you're handcuffed waiting for rates to drop, I would say, what is that costing you in the form of livability, enjoyment, lifestyle, peace of mind, and freedom? What is it costing you staying where you are, wanting and longing to move here for the activities and lifestyle and environment, but being limited and not able to? Maybe if you decide, we're just going to make the move because life goes on, and then we're going to take care of these other solutions I'm going to give you here in a few minutes, then it's all going to work out, and I don't have to pause my life for a year or two. So there's the brass tacks of dollars and cents. And I hear you saying, well, Josh, I'm not going to lock into this 7.5% interest rate for the rest of my life and for the the remaining 30 years of this loan term because it's going to cost me an absolute fortune. And you're right. And did you actually know very, very few homeowners ever carry the life of their 30-year mortgage when they locked in their rate, regardless of the market? Most homeowners either sell within 5 to 7 years or they refinance within 2-3 years, depending on what happens with rates. And so what we're saying is, while you may take an initial hit of a high interest rate now, within a year or two when rates adjust, maybe they adjust to 6.5, maybe they adjust to 5.5, maybe 4.5. I mean, could you even imagine? When that happens, then you refinance out of your original mortgage into a new mortgage with that lower interest rate. And so right now, essentially, you capture the options, the pricing, the selections of homes now. You move on with life, you enjoy life, you get settled, you have a peace of mind. And then a year from now or 2 years from now, when those rates adjust, you're able to refinance to the lower rate, meaning cutting your monthly payment, but you've also captured the year or two of appreciation in your home equity and value. Actually, this is really cool because our lending partner, if you get the loan with our lending partner now, whenever rates do adjust, they're willing to refinance your home for free. So there's not the closing costs associated with the refi that typically is. It's a free refi that saves you with costs and fees. I just want everybody to know, every homeowner that's buying a home and taking out a mortgage this past year, this past 18 months, every single one of them will refinance out of that interest rate into a lower rate. That's just what everyone does. And so it's very, very common. And if you're buying a home right now over the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to refinance your home as well. Like it's baked into the process. It's a fact of the future. So my encouragement is, rather than waiting for rates to drop, even consider this, even when rates drop from 7.5 to 6.5, and you may decide, okay, now's the time I'm going to buy a home, and you lock in at a 6.5% interest rate. When rates drop to 5.5, you'll refinance. When they drop to 4.5, you'll refinance. So it's a fact that's going to happen in the future regardless. My encouragement is, you look at your lifestyle and your situation, you may consider, I want to buy a home now before all the other buyers come off of the sidelines and we begin to compete and have bidding wars and start bidding those prices up even higher, and then you buy a home you could buy now at a higher price, and probably not even a home that you actually love that's available right now. Now let's talk about, okay, if you've decided that you are going to buy a home right now, how to negotiate some really great terms that can offset these interest rates. So first and foremost, this is what we're doing with our customers and our buyers. When we present an offer, we're actually asking the sellers to buy down the interest rate. And believe it or not, we're having some of our buyers get rates down in the 5s and even in the 4s. Now this is not locked over 30 years, but what did I say? No homeowner ever hangs on to their existing mortgage and the rate for 30 years. So actually some of these rates are locked in for 2 years, 1 year. Sometimes it's an adjustable rate, meaning it's adjustable and then it locks in at a cap. And so right now they're locking in at, like, say, 4.5% for the first year, which is phenomenal. This saves you so much money per month. Then the second year, it rises to 5.5%, which is still 2 percentage points lower than the current market rate of 7.5%. And then the third year and beyond, it jumps up to the 7.5% rate. And keep in mind, the whole game plan here is that within the next 2 to 3 years, you'll refinance and lock it into a long-term 30-year fixed rate that you're happy with. Now, we're presenting offers that ask the sellers to actually contribute money, which is going to be cash out of their proceeds, to buy down the interest rate. And this is called purchasing discount points through the lender. That costs real hard money, but it's not costing our buyers, it's actually costing the sellers. And sellers are motivated to do this so they can move their property. And this is a win-win across the board. We're even negotiating some of the sellers to pay some of our buyers' closing costs to save our buyers on cold hard cash as well. That way you can go spend it on furniture or whatever else, and it's not coming out of your pocket. So I highly encourage you, when you present offers with new construction or even resales, you package the offers so that you can have the seller contribute money to buy down your interest rate and lock that in either the whole time, for first year, for the second year, or even for 3 years.